Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolessence. I hope you're all doing well. Are you a fan of incense? I know I personally am. Actual incense and also incense-based perfumes. Well, in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about 10 incense perfumes that I absolutely love wearing in the fall and winter, so make sure to stay tuned. Before I begin this video and I tell you all about these 10 incense perfumes that I love wearing in the fall and winter and why I think you should check them out, I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. Make sure to enable all notifications by clicking on that bell icon, and of course give this video a thumbs up by the end of this episode if you take something of value from today's video. Now, of course, when you think of incense, typically you think of smoke, or I should say a lot of people conflate incense with smoke. But when it comes to actual incense notes in perfumery, we have many. We have olibanum, we have myrrh, we have opopanax, and of course in real life we have many different types of incense. We have copal, we have sandarac, we have dragon's blood. There's so many, woods and resins and gums that can be used as incense. And of course, a lot of them are found in the fragrances that I'm going to be mentioning in this video. So you're going to see a little bit of a diversity in terms of the type of incense that's being used in these fragrances. I also want to mention that if you are interested in sampling most of the fragrances on this list, you may do so at scentsplit.com. I'm going to leave their information down below, so please definitely check them out if you get a chance, because they do carry most of these fragrances, I think like 8 out of the 10. And so with that being said, let's just go ahead and dive into the list and I'll tell you about my favorite incense fragrances for the fall and winter. Now, the first one that I want to start things off with is actually a rose-based fragrance, but it does have a backdrop of incense. And this one by the designer brand Bulgari is called GOURMAND. And this fragrance, composed by Jacques Cavalier, is a beautiful, natural, organic rose perfume with a hint of smoke in there. And so you have that incensey quality. It's very meditative, but it's also very exotic, very mysterious. I really love this one. I love the enigmatic quality of it. Beautiful fragrance, GOURMAND by Bulgari. The next fragrance that I want to mention is by Zadig & Voltaire. I've spoken about this on my channel way too many times. This one is called This Is Him. This fragrance combines incense with vanilla. So incense in and of itself can be on the darker side of things, especially when there's smoke involved in the case of birch tar or cade or spices or whatever else. But in this case, you have that sultry vanilla note that really creates this flirty and sensual undertone, thus also increasing the versatility of the fragrance. So I think it can be worn casually, dressed up. The longevity on it is also really good. I get in the vicinity of like 9 or 10 hours, and I think it's because of those long-lasting and resonant incense notes that allowed this fragrance to perform so well and last for such a long time. The next fragrance has a ton of smoke, and it's the smokiest fragrance on this entire list. Another designer by the brand Gucci. This is called a Midnight Stroll. Now this fragrance is spicy, it's smoky, it's certainly incensey, and it's definitely on the daring side. So if you are a fan of daring, smoky fragrances, this is definitely one that you need to check out. There is one that does something kind of similar times 10, and that's Vie et Armis by Beaufort London, which I've also reviewed. I'm going to leave a card to that up here. That one is super duper smoky. This one, on the other hand, it's very smoky and it is very daring, but it's not the extreme that I've smelled in some other fragrances in my collection. The next fragrance is a bit of an incensey fragrance. It has labdanum resin, and this one by Tower Perfumes is called Au Cœur du Désert. And the name translates to the heart of the desert, and the perfumer is Andy Tower, and this is kind of like a reinterpretation of his second fragrance, L'air du Désert Marocain. This one, however, is a bit more ambery, a bit more resinous, and a bit longer lasting in my opinion. L'air du Désert Marocain seems to go in a few different directions. They're both equally complex, but I do find this one to perform a little bit better over L'air du Désert Marocain. The next fragrance that I want to mention has both frankincense and myrrh, but it also has an apple note in here that freshens it up. And this one by Parfums de Marly is called Habdan. Now, I love this fragrance. I've also reviewed it. I'm gonna leave a card to that up here. ScentSplit carries it. It's one of the fragrances from Parfums de Marly that, in my opinion, deserves to be spoken about a lot more often. Frankincense, myrrh, apple, some clean florals. At times, the fragrance also kind of reminds me of the smell of chamomile. I know that's a bit peculiar, and I haven't encountered too many fragrances that contain a chamomile note, and this one doesn't either, but there's just something about the accord that's created in here that reminds me of that smell. Of course, the next fragrance has incense in the name, and it's by Tom Ford, part of the Private Blend line. Again, another designer, and this one is Incense. Now, this one combines incense with pine resin. I love this one so much. It really smells like a Christmas tree. It's dark and resinous and mature and sophisticated with a verdant quality about it. Beautiful stuff by Tom Ford. Definitely evocative of this time of the year. The next one of my favorites of all time, could have been in the #1 spot, Jubilation 25 by Amouage. This one has a Papanax, otherwise known as sweet myrrh, so there's the incense ingredient there. And it also has blackberry. Now, this is a super complex fragrance composed by Bertrand Duchaufour, and, just mentioning 2 or 3 notes is really not going to do it justice. It's very imperial smelling, very opulent, very regal. It's the fragrance that you wear when you want to smell like $1 billion. Forget $1 million, $1 billion. You really will smell like a king or a prince or a Raja or a sultan wearing this fragrance. It's really expensive smelling without necessarily being the most expensive niche fragrance. Yes, it is a few $100s, but I know ScentSplit has decants for a really good price. The next fragrance that I want to mention is a frankincense-based fragrance. It also contains pheromone musk. And then on top of that, it also has a smell that's similar to ginger, in my opinion. This actually smells a lot like ginger to me. And it's Magnetic Blend number 8 by Inicio Parfum. This is a very linear fragrance. It's a very simple fragrance. It's perfect for layering, especially when you want to add a darker edge to another fragrance. And so, if you can imagine a fragrance smelling a little bit more complex or intricate with the assistance of this one, it's a perfect fragrance to layer with. The fragrance in my #2 spot is one of the best frankincense perfumes that I own. It's Olibanum, otherwise known as frankincense. And this one has some other ingredients in here too that kind of create complexity to it, but the longevity on this one is absolutely monstrous. This one by Electimus London is called Puritas. This is an absolute must try if you haven't had a chance to try it yet. And the fragrance in the #1 spot happens to be one of my favorite fragrances of all time. This is a Holy Grail incense fragrance. Now, there are a lot of great ones on the market. Full Incense by Montal, which I don't own. Cardinal by Healy, which I also don't own. And this fragrance was composed by the same perfumer as Jubilation 25, which happens to be Bertrand Duchaufour. And this fragrance conveys the smell of Roman Catholicism, if I'm not mistaken, or being in such a church. And this fragrance by Comme des Garçons, another designer brand, is Incense Avignon. This is one of the most natural, organic, photorealistic incense fragrances. As soon as I smell this, as soon as I spray this on, it puts me in such a serene and tranquil mood. And I get so much of that frankincense in here that kind of conveys this sort of lemony pine aroma, which is what frankincense smells like to me. And with this fragrance, not only is the performance really, really good, but it definitely calms me down. It's a very meditative, peaceful blend of notes and just incredibly well done, and such a cool concept as well by Comme des Garçons. So Incense Avignon, one of my favorite incense fragrances, probably my favorite incense fragrance of all time when we're talking about the note of frankincense, right? If we're talking about a Papanax as Jubilation 25, and of course, like I said, there's many variations of incense, but I do want to thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took something of value from this top 10. If you did, please let me know, leave a comment down below. Also, what are your favorite incense fragrances? Comment down below. I always love the interaction. I love to hear what some of your favorites are. Also, if you did take something of value from this video, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. Once again, remember to enable all notifications by clicking on the bell icon, and give this video a thumbs up if you like this type of content. Thanks again for watching. Love you all. We'll see you soon. Bye.